Hey, how's it going, everybody? Marcus here with MGN Sports, and in this video we're going to be recapping the Raptors trade deadline moves from today, as the NBA trade deadline is now done and finished with for the season here. Coming to you live from work here, you guys, as I'm on the night shift, so we're doing what we can here to try and get some content out for you guys. Working up in the northern part of Canada in the oil patch right now. So yeah, in this video, man, we're just going to go through some of the trade deadline moves that the Raptors made. Obviously, most notably, Kelly Olynyk coming back to Canada to be a Toronto Raptor. You guys ended up making a trade with the Utah Jazz, so we'll kind of break down that trade, as well as Dennis Schroeder being sent over to the Brooklyn Nets. I feel like what Masai has done here, kind of retooling and reshaping this roster. I kind of like what he's brought to the table for us here. Obviously, it was tough to see OG Anunoby and Pascal Siakam leave the organization. But I just feel like Masai did that based off of what happened last season with Fred VanVleet going into a contract year and ended up leaving us for the Houston Rockets for a big-time payday. I feel like that was most likely going to be the case here with Pascal Siakam and OG Anunoby. Obviously, those two guys will be demanding top-end salaries coming up in free agency this offseason. So I feel like Masai had learned from his lesson last year and did not want us, not capitalizing and getting something in return for these guys that are most likely going to be out of the door at the end of the season anyways. But as for the trade deadline today, you guys, the biggest name that we were able to acquire here was Kelly Olynyk from the Utah Jazz. Like I said, hometown talent. I believe he's from Vancouver, BC. So he's coming back to Canada to play for the Toronto Raptors here, kind of in the latter half of his career. He's 32 years old already. So we'll go ahead and break down that trade a little bit here. The Raptors are getting Kelly Olynyk and Ochai Agbaji. In return, the Jazz are getting Otto Porter Jr., Kira Lewis Jr., and a 2024 first-round pick. Now, I think this is a great pickup for the Raptors, obviously. Olynyk is that big man who can stretch the floor. He's got a good passing game as well, can facilitate nicely, shooting a really nice clip from three-point range as well as the field. He's pretty good from the free throw line as well. And just a nice, solid veteran big, to go alongside Jakob Poeltl. So I think that really kind of just fills out the depth in our 4 and 5 positions out on the floor that we've kind of been missing since we let go of Pascal there. And obviously Jakob Poeltl was injured there for a while, and you could just see how atrocious the Raptors' defensive prowess was without having a big man out on the floor. So nice to have Poeltl back in the action, and then to be able to add Kelly Olynyk to the fold here. I think that just goes ahead and strengthens our roster here for the future. We'll go ahead and look at some of the stats for Olynyk so far this season. Nothing too crazy from him, but he is on a Utah Jazz team. He hasn't been getting a lot of minutes. He's played 50 games so far this season, averaging 8 points, 5 rebounds, and 4.4 assists. Shooting 56% from the field and 42% from three-point range, as well as 84% from the free throw line, which is a really nice clip overall for all of those numbers. So just to be able to have that big man who can space the floor and really shoot the three ball for us, I think is going to do wonders for us on the offensive end and just allow us to be a little more consistent from field goal range there, you guys. Like I said, he is 32 years old, so nice veteran presence in that locker room. He's going to bring a good leadership mentality to the team here. And obviously, being a Canadian kid, you got to love to have him back in Toronto to join RJ Barrett, another Canadian. So I love that pickup, you guys. And then the stat lines as well from Agbaji this year. He's played in 51 games. He's a bit younger as well. He's only 23 years old, so a little more of a developmental piece for us. But nonetheless, I'm happy that we were able to acquire him as well. He's averaging 5 points, 2.5 rebounds, and 1 assist so far on his season, shooting 42% from the field and 33% from three-point range in 19 minutes per game. And then he also shoots 75% from the free throw line. So definitely an upgrade in the shooting department. Having these two guys join the squad here, seems like Masai's trying to fill out the roster with more shooters to surround Scotty Barnes with here. Which I like to see. That's something that the Raptors have been missing, is a good shooting stroke. So I think adding Kelly Olynyk to the fold there is definitely going to help out the Raptors on the offensive end of the floor. And then you're still going to have a nice rim protector on the back end in Jakob Poeltl. So I really like that move there. I think the Raptors did a nice job in acquiring, some much needed depth at certain positions for us there. And then the other Raptors trade that went down today, you guys, was sending Dennis Schroeder and Thaddeus Young to the Brooklyn Nets for Spencer Dinwiddie. I was actually really stoked about this trade. I thought we might keep Dinwiddie. Unfortunately, the Raptors did release him shortly after, so his career with Toronto was non-existent basically, as he did get released to the open market there. I feel like this was more so a cap dump by Masai Ujiri, kind of preparing for maybe something big this offseason. Obviously being able to shed the cap of Dennis Schroeder and Thaddeus Young, and then by cutting Dinwiddie, you shed some of that cap as well. So I think, like I said, this is just a cap dump by Masai, trying to set us up for success to maybe go for a big free agent name this offseason. Another big surprise here, you guys, a couple key names on the Raptors squad right now who ended up staying put and not get traded is Bruce Brown and Chris Boucher. I think a lot of us thought that Bruce Brown was definitely going to be traded possibly to the Los Angeles Lakers, or there's a couple other teams that were interested as well. But like I said, I just don't think they wanted to trade him either, because we would have had to retain, someone else's salary for the next couple of seasons, whereas Bruce Brown is a free agent this off season. So kind of makes sense. Like I said, I think Masai is preparing for something big. Maybe he's got his eyes set on a couple big free agents this off season. But we'll have to see what happens, you guys. It wasn't like Schroeder was really doing anything crazy for us this year. He played solid for us, but he was kind of taken away from the young guys being able to shine out there. Obviously trying to prove himself so he can get another contract extension in the future. So I think this is just going to open up a little more floor time, for some of our younger guys on the team, which I think is going to be crucial for the development of the squad moving forward here, you guys. We'll go through some of the Raptors pending free agents coming up this offseason as well, just to kind of get a look at things for the future for this Raptors squad here. So we got Gary Trent Jr. is an unrestricted free agent this offseason. So is Bruce Brown, other than he's got a club option of $23 million, so the Raptors will decide at the end of the year if they want to allow him to go into free agency, or we can sign him for that $23 million club option to kind of see how he performs for the rest of the season and see if he wants to stick around as a Toronto Raptor or not. Kelly Olynyk as well is an unrestricted free agent at the end of this year, and Jordan Nwora as well is an unrestricted free agent. He's looked outstanding for us in the short period of time that he's been with the Toronto Raptors. Would love to see him get re-signed. We got a few restricted free agents as well in Emmanuel Quickley, Marquise Noel, our two-way contract playing in the G League there. He's also a restricted free agent on a two-way contract. Same with Freeman Liberty is also a restricted free agent, and Jonte Porter. So I'd like to see some of these guys get retained by the Raptors for sure. Most notably, I think Kelly Olynyk, I would love to see him finish out his career in Toronto. Obviously being 32 years old, he's still got some good years left, and like I said, he brings that veteran presence and leadership in the locker room, as well as being able to facilitate and shoot the three ball as a big man, which is huge for our squad here. So I would love to see him get extended for maybe a 2 or 3 year deal around that $15 to $20 million range. So hopefully the Raptors decide to do that. I also would love to see Nwora back in action. He's looked like an absolute stud. Just kind of one of those diamond in the roughs type players that Masai is so good at finding. So I definitely expect him to get a contract extension as well and be able to stay with the Toronto Raptors for the foreseeable future. Emmanuel Quickley being in the restricted free agent, we got the tendering rights to him, I believe, so we'll be the first ones to be able to offer him a contract. I would expect him wanting to stay, as we've kind of allowed him to develop into that number one point guard for us, which I think he can do a great job at as he continues to grow and come into his own as a player. So I'd love to see him stay with the team as well. Obviously him and RJ Barrett have a good chemistry together too, so it definitely doesn't hurt to keep him in the fold. Marquise Noel is a nice bench piece that could definitely improve into something major for us coming off the bench in the future. As of right now, he's just playing in the G League, but I do love the tenacity and the grit that this guy brings, so I hope that they are able to keep him on the team as well. Same with Freeman Liberty. Love what I've seen from him in the small snippets that he's been out on the floor. He's done a good job down in the G League as well for us. And then same with Jonte Porter, you guys. I really liked what I've seen from him. He's a big man who can space the floor with his three-point shooting. He's Michael Porter Jr.'s younger brother, so Michael Porter Jr. is quite a three-point shooter himself as well. So I'd like to see him be able to stay on a two-way contract as well here. And then to be honest, you guys, I would honestly love to keep Bruce Brown on the team. I like the way he plays and his tenacity out on the floor. He's just one of those gritty, grimy, kind of do-it-all players for you. It's just going to be a matter of if the Raptors are going to want to sign him for that $23 million club option at the end of the season. And then obviously there'll be talks about if he even wants to remain a Raptor. Obviously he will be a Raptor for the rest of this season unless we buy him out and release him. But I would love to see him stay. Like I said, I think he brings that grit and determination. Obviously, he won that championship as well with the Nuggets last year, so he's got that championship pedigree. Has been there, done that before, so I think he'd be a nice veteran presence on this team as well. So I'd like to see him stay, but we'll have to see what happens, you guys. It's been kind of a tough season to watch the Raptors play. Obviously, we're kind of in tank mode right now. If we don't end up finishing in the bottom 6, then we lose that first-round pick to the Spurs for that trade that we made with Jakob Poeltl last year. So it's going to be tough to see what happens here, you guys. I'm not too sure if we're going to continue that tank mode. I think it's going to be a lot tougher to continue the tank mode with some of the pieces that we've added. And you know, as Raptors fans, man, it sucks watching your team lose. So even though we may lose that pick if we don't finish in the bottom 6, I would like to see us start winning some games here. And I feel like we got a couple nice key pieces that we've added in Kelly Olynyk. Obviously, RJ Barrett's been a stud since he's came over as well in that trade for OG Anunoby. Really like Quickly's game as well. You know, just kind of helped us space the floor a little bit better. Gary Trent Jr. is kind of starting to pick up his game a little bit since he's been entered into the starting lineup more recently, you guys. Be interesting to see if we decide to keep him. I never had him on one of my lists of keeps this year. I just think he might be demanding too much money, and he's been so up and down with his play, so I'm just not too sure if he's going to be a key piece moving forward for this Raptors team. But that's pretty much all I got for this one, you guys. Lots of big moves for the Raptors so far this season. Hopefully we got a good finish to the second half of the year here and can kind of get on a little bit of a roll and allow a lot of these young guys to start gelling and clicking together. But yeah, that pretty well wraps up for this one, you guys. I would love your guys' opinion in the comments section down below. What do you think of the Raptors trades? And who do you think we should be signing come off season here? Who do you think needs to be remaining on this team moving forward and kind of building around Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett, and Emmanuel Quickly here, you guys? So like I said, would love your guys' opinion on that in the comments section down below. But that pretty well wraps it up for this one, you guys. I appreciate you watching. This is Marcus with MGN Sports signing off. Peace.